Good morning, everyone. Today, we are going to start with the third chapter, the child development. In this chapter, we will see how child is born. From the time of conception until the time of birth, what all the changes the child is going through, and also after the birth, little milestones of development. So looking into the meaning, what is meant by development? It's actually the pattern of progressive, orderly, and predictable changes that begin at the conception and continue throughout the life. So, when parents plan to have a child, at the time of conception onwards, the development of a person starts. Okay, before the time the zygote is formed, that time onwards, that is what is the process of fertilization and how the zygotes are formed. So, from that time onwards, each of our development have started. Okay, and it follows some pattern and a progressive, orderly and predictable changes means we will be undergoing through so many changes, and some changes we can predict. For example, when a baby is born, what time the baby start to walk, what time the baby start to speak, there is a predictable time for that, right? Even when the mother is conceived, we have a prediction that what time the mom will deliver the baby, right? So like that, these all are predictable changes, and there is an order for the change. When a baby is born, it's not like a baby is standing up and walking fast. No, the baby has to grow, baby has to sit, baby has to slowly stand up, and the baby will fall down. Still, the baby will try, and slowly the baby will be able to walk even. Right. So like that, there is an order for the development. Okay, so the development is the pattern of this progressive, orderly, and predictable changes that begin at the time of conception and that will continue throughout our lifetime until we die. The development can occur. Okay, then what is the difference between the growth and development then? If you look at growth, it is changes in particular aspect of our body or the behavior of an individual. For example, mm, you know, particular aspect of our body means the change in our height. Okay, that is one particular aspect of our body. And in the aspect of behavior, we know that how we are expecting age 2 child to behave, but that is not the expectation when we see an age 6 child, right? So that is called as a growth of behavior of a person. And comes to the development, it is just overall changes resulting in improved functioning of the individual. Growth, if it can be the height and all, the development means overall changes along with the height, the person's each body part and their cognition, their behavior, their socio-emotional aspect, everything might have developed. So overall changes is that. Okay. Then coming into growth, it's a quantitative aspect, means we can measure the growth as we used to measure our height and weight, so it is measurable. But coming into the development, it's qualitative aspect. We cannot measure just like height and weight. Okay, the development we have to understand descriptively. For example, if I have gone through some lessons in my life and my personality is developed, it's not possible to measure with any scale, right? That's what. Then also, the growth does not continue throughout our life. When we do attain a maturity, the growth stops there. That we know that until we all reach in a age that we will be growing. girls will grow faster compared to boys in younger ages. But after an age, girls' growth might have, over. And then, but boys, after their adolescence, reaching into their adolescence, they will grow very taller than girls. Right. So, however, there is a limit for the growth for all of us. So, it will not be throughout our lifetime until we do attain our maturity and our physical maturity. It will grow and it will stop at a time. But the development is not just like that, it's a continuous process. Even if we get maturity or not, even if you have attained something or not, it's not going to stop. It will be continuing throughout our lifetime. Okay. And growth is narrow in its meaning, and it's only one of the aspect of developmental process. But development is a wider and comprehensive term, and growth is one of its aspect. So development is more than the growth what we do think. Okay. Growth sometime can bring some development, sometime it will not bring some development, but development is possible uh, without develop growth. Okay, even if we stop growing, we can develop. But growth is not like that. Sometimes the growth can bring the development, sometimes it cannot. Okay, and then it is the changes produced by growth are observable and can be quantified. That's what we discussed. We can measure, right? That's a quantitative aspect. But developmental changes produced by development are not observable and cannot be quantified. We have to understand it. The growth is structural while the development is functional. So these are the difference between the growth and development. However, there are some principles for all of our growth and development. Here we can see 10 listed principles. Development is continuous. We know that throughout our lifetime, it's going continuously. It is gradual, means after, like gradual means progressive changes, one after another. And it is sequential, like a pattern. And rate of development varies person to person. That we know that some children will start to walk at earlier days and some will take a bit time for that. So development varies from person to person. Even some children will start to speak very early, some will be very late, right? Moderately also will be there most of the children, but still it is different from person to person. And development proceed from general to specific, and then means from with the general aspect the development will proceed and it will focus on to the specific aspect like cognitive development, socio-emotional development, like that. Okay, then most traits are correlated in development. Means when we do develop, all our cognition, socio-emotional aspect, our behavior, all are interwoven. Means that will have influence on other aspects of the development also. And growth and development is a product of both heredity and environment. We know that we have genes in our body that we got from our ancestors or from our parents, and so our uh, uh, just for our mm, lifetime, uh, our heredity and our environment also can influence our growth as well as the development. Then it's another thing that development is predictable, that we have discussed already, and the development brings about both structural and functional changes. Coming into the growth, it is only structural, but coming into the development, since it's also growth is one aspect of the development, we can say that development brings about both structural and functional changes. And there is a consistent interaction between all factors of development. Okay, means when we grow physically, our brain develops, our body parts develops accordingly, our motor development develops, and also our cognition develops, our socio-emotional interaction develops, and our behavior develops. So all are like interacting each other constantly. Let's discuss about the factors affecting growth and development now. Uh, there are so many factors affecting both of our growth and development. One is heredity and its environment, then our sex, our exercise and health, hormones, our nutrition, familial influences, geographical influences, socioeconomic status, learning, and reinforcement. Coming into the heredity, we can call it as a genetic factor also. It's just like our physical features, color of the skin, eyes and hair, shape of nose and scars, and so on. So, if your father is very taller, and you also may grow taller. If your mother is shorter, maybe you will not grow shorter. So, whose heredity is, as a phenotype right now, it will be expressed, right? Some genotype means what is the gene that is transferred to our body, which is expressed, whether it's father or it's mother, it depends. And our hair color, our eye color, our ear, shape of ears, and body structure all have influence by the heredity, and especially our sex means our gender, whether a baby born as a girl or a boy, it's also a hereditary genetic factor. And then in some cases, there can be some hereditary diseases, just like the cancer or the heart attack or some. Like it is not always necessary to be hereditary always, but still there are so many diseases which are transferred as a hereditary disease. Then the second factor, the environmental factor, we do have two type of environment: prenatal environment and postnatal environment. Prenatal environment means that is the very safest environment of a person, that the time before our birth, the time we do spend from the time of conception till the time of birth, we are in the womb of our mother. That time and that environment is called prenatal environment. And the postnatal environment means the time after the birth. So both environment are entirely different. During the time of prenatal environment, our maternal health, our mother's physical and mental state, mother's readiness to have the child, the nutrition, the drug or alcohol intake of the mother, or any accident occurs, all will influence the baby's growth and development. If the mother is very happy, the baby will also be very vibrant. The mother is sad, it will affect the baby's cognition very badly. If the mother does not take nutritious food, it will again affect the baby's development like that. Okay. And coming into the drug and alcohol, there are some cases that infancy and fetus death occurs, not infancy, fetus death occurs. Like during the time of pregnancy, the fetus die. Mostly it is because of some teratogens. Teratogen stands for any harmful drugs or materials cause the problem to the development of the fetus or even death of the fetus. Just like X-ray during the time of pregnancy, the woman is not supposed to go through X-rays and some drugs, and the mother does not supposed to take any alcohol or any other type of substances to get addicted. So all will have an influence on babies development, or we can say fetus development. Okay, so the postnatal development uh, means after the birth we do have physical environment. Physical environment stands for the living condition, play space and environment, health and nutrition, illness and accidents all comes under physical environment. And then socio-emotional environment like parental attitudes and child rearing practices, socio-economic strategy, family structure, sex and culture all comes as socio-emotional environment. And then intellectual environment like opportunity to explore and experiment, arouse curiosity to ask questions, encouragement by giving positive feedback, providing a variety of activities like reading, storytelling, music, dancing, and dramatizing. So all these will influence the baby very positively. If we are keeping all this very good, the baby will have a very good attitude and developing good sense of life. Okay, and if these all are the factors influencing development, what are the milestones of development? Um, you know, period of ovum is there, means the time of conception to the end of the second week. That is the first milestone of each of our life. Okay, the time of conception to the end of second week. Okay, then it is an embryo. Then it is called the period of embryo. That is from second week. Uh, okay, second to 8 week, means at that time um, the baby in the womb will be able to hold up their head steadily. Okay, and 8 months until birth, it will be the period. Okay, then it's the crawling. Crawling starts from 2 months to 5 months. Then the baby sit from 5 months to 8 months. In between any of this time, the babies will sit and standing with support at the time of month of 8 to 1 year, or starting walking at the month of 11 to 14 months, and standing without support and can climb stairs from 13 to 15 months, then running at 15 to 18 months. These all are the average milestones of development, but again, each babies are different, each individual is different, and they will all go through all these milestones, but there can be some changes. Like every babies will not stand up at the month of 8, every babies will not walk at the month of 11. It may vary from person to person. So, to discuss about our life begins at the conception, and a sperm cell fertilize with an egg form a single cell called a zygote. That all you have learned in lower grades, right? And in that zygote, since it is fusion of a sperm cell and a fertile egg cell, it contains 46 chromosomes. The mother and the father contribute 23 chromosomes each. Okay, then what happens? Hundreds of invisible particles called genes are found within each of these thread-like bodies. These gene controls heredity and traits, means what all are there inside this zygote, or as what we are discussing now. Okay, so as we said, the mother contribute 23 X chromosomes and the father contribute either 23 X chromosomes, or it can be like 22 X chromosome and 1 Y chromosome. Suppose if the father is contributing 23 X chromosomes with the mother's 23 X chromosomes, the baby will born as a girl. Okay, but if the father is contributing 22 X chromosomes and 1 Y chromosome, the baby's gender will be boy. Okay, so the father is the one who is determining the gender or the sex of the baby. Whether the baby is a boy or a girl, it is determined by the contribution of father's X or Y chromosome. You understand? Looking at the period of the ovum, as we have discussed, conception to the second week, all living organisms develop into an organism containing more than 100 cells. We know that. So they travel down the fallopian tube to the uterus and implant itself in the uterine lining where it continues to grow. Okay, and at the point of implantation, the placenta means from which the umbilical cord extend to the ovum. We know that, right? Umbilical cord is just connected to the mother, and so at this point, the implantation, the placenta develops, and in this way, the ovum receives nourishment from the bloodstream of mother. Okay, and at the period of the embryo, means from the second week to the 8th week after conception, for the first 2 months, that we call the new life is called the embryo. At that time, important external and internal features will start to develop and function. Okay, important external and internal features. So different cells are made, namely like body cells, bone cells, muscle cells, all will be made at that time. And by the 8 weeks, we will start to develop very tiny heart. Okay, so at what time the heart starts to beat? For almost a month. Okay, then the lungs, the liver, the stomach, brain, all will start to get formed, and the sex organs are developed enough to distinguish the sex of the embryo as well. So this will be the complete structure before the birth, means all happens in the prenatal period. Fertilized egg, you can see what happens at the first day, what happens from first day to the fifth day, like second day, third day, fourth day, all these go for the division of cell. Then we do blastocyst, and after what happens at the first month, second month, third month, you see how the baby is developing through all these months for 5, 6, 7, 8 to 9 months to a fully developed fetus, right? Then we are like, all these are called the period of the fetus. That all until birth, all this period is called the period of fetus. So all the organs grow bigger and stronger until the birth. From the birth, means from fifth month, you can hear through stethoscope. You might have heard the heartbeat of the baby or the fetus when you go for consultation with your doctor, right? Heartbeat, we can listen. Right, so the body moves freely inside the womb, and the parents can feel mother's skin bulge when arms, like so, like when the baby hit your stomach or extend their arms and all, the mother can feel it. Their skin will bulge where the baby's legs or arms are kicking out. Then some babies suck their thumbs, some yawn, and some stretch out. All happens just before uh, the birth. And at the time of birth, usually, each baby is average weight of the baby will be 7 pounds or 3 kg. The first cry after birth help the lungs of the child to begin functioning. Until that, the baby is not breathing. After the first cry of baby after the birth, and the baby start to breathe since the lungs start to function, and the newborn child attempts to adjust with the new environment, because until that they were in the prenatal environment. Now they are into the postnatal environment, and the child lack of adjustment to the new environment may show itself in a sudden waking. They are choking, irregular respiration, and sneezing, and some similar symptoms of instability in the initial period after the birth, that they are just getting into a new environment and they are trying to cope up with the changed environment. These all what happens during the development of a child. That's all for today's lesson. This chapter 3 is over. Your task for today to ensure your attendance is mm, write your notes and post it in our discussion group. Okay. Thank you so much for joining with me. Take care. Have a nice weekend. Bye bye.